Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Fire Emblem Three Houses, and we've got support, just one support to do right before we start the mission, but this is a very Edelgard focused level, considering it's A, it's her support, B, it's her paralogue. And again, I think it's kind of cool, because I looked into this, that each lord in the time skip has their own exclusive paralogue, which I feel gives, you know, a bit more uniqueness to each pathway, because obviously depending on who you recruit you can get certain paralogues with certain characters, but obviously aside from certain instances most characters aren't restricted to their house, unlike, you know, Dudu in Blue Lions and Hubert with Black Eagles, and depending on which pathway you play Hilda sticks with the Golden Deer, that type thing. But so I think that's pretty damn cool. But this support, again, going further into this thing, it's quite interesting to see Edelgard's vision or perception of things being shattered, because obviously Edelgard for the longest time thinks, oh, if all you do is follow the faith, you're kind of weak-willed, because, you know, most people just cling to their faith and kind of let that dictate their life, which obviously, you know, a little bit on the prejudice side, but she's not, I reckon back then she isn't exactly wrong, just because back then, in that time period, just in general history, religion had so much power, like, you know, people would go, like, literally dedicate their entire lives to it and believe in it so vividly. Whereas these days, obviously religion is a big thing, but people are not so, for the most part, not so fixated on it. And again, that's why Edelgard is so, you know, interested to know why on earth would you retire when you have such an incredible voice. And Manuela does point out, yeah, my voice was incredible, but I still had to do everything else, you know, to get center stage, and I didn't want that to be my entire career, and I know that my voice is only temporary, so obviously retire at my peak, and, you know, while I'm still young, make, you know, try and learn and make use of my skills elsewhere. Because, you know, certain things, you know, as you get older, age is a factor and it starts to affect you. It's like, you know, any athlete, you know, once their age starts to kick in, they'll never, ever beat their peak, just because, you know, a lot of physical stuff, a lot of physical, reductions in physical performance are down to age, and age isn't something you can stop. We don't have a time machine. But, and it's cool to see Edelgard literally be kind of taken back by this, because she was always under the impression that, you know, people, yeah. So I see she openly admits I was wrong. She always thought, yeah. Yeah, she thought all they did was cling to their faith and can't survive on their own. But obviously Manuela is very different. But again, I like that about, like, characters like Manuela and stuff. Yeah, well, you know, obviously Hanneman you see a lot more than Manuela, but it's really nice to see that these characters are still teachers at the end of the day. They do guide and help their students. They are very wise and so on. Like, well, Shimi is not a teacher, but she's a mercenary, and she just tells the students how it is, and she's very neutral towards them. So obviously, with them, she doesn't beat around the bush or anything. Catherine, obviously, she's done some things for the church, but she too takes a more, you know, mature stance about it, about how she feels and how to act. Like, again, when Linhardt wanted to use the thing, she didn't just let him do it. She's like, no, Linhardt, this thing is very dangerous and it's not a toy. And granted, Linhardt does get around to doing it, but that's after much persuasion. Again, these people, they're proper adults. Whereas a lot of the students here, even though they are technically adults, they're still quite young inside, and some of them haven't fully grown up. Again, even the lords, they have their, you know, that's why they're so flawed. They're probably forced to grow up so quickly into such a harsh world, which is why a lot of them are, like, rather extreme. Like, Edelgard is very, you know, very, like, steadfast and not so much ruthless. Dimitri's the ruthless one. She's very steadfast and ambitious, but sometimes a bit too ambitious. Dimitri, you know, his mental state completely eroded, so he's very unstable. And Claude is also, you know, he kind of fails to take action, and, you know, he's one of those types that likes to really play it safe, which, again, can't blame him, but at the same time, considering what the things are doing when they're striving for things, Claude's more than happy to just sit in the background and let someone else dictate. For the most part. It's just because of that's how the world works, and it is very damn interesting. Yeah. So this paralogue is about, you know, it's like, oh, one of our houses fell, and, like, they don't have enough things because of the war, so we've got to sort this shit out. And Edelgard's like, oh my god. I didn't realize having so much territory would come with so much fucking problems. But yeah, obviously because of the war effort, the forces are thin, so when someone makes a large attack upon an area that has a lot of forces, the one in charge has to come and, you know, for the what they should do is they come in and they help out and stuff like that. So yeah, Edelgard's got to deal with this shit. And honestly, this paralogue in terms of design is pretty much made for Edelgard, provided you go with her standard or Fortress Knight class line. And I'll explain why when we actually get to it. And it's funny because it's the boss of the paralogue, who we'll see next time, is actually the Wyvern Lord you faced in Claude's chapter. So I don't know whether he's doing this out of spite or he's just he's like or he just wants to capitalize on a weakened fortress. But at the same time, it's like, we're going to capitalize on the space. Yeah, but the Empire owns us, so doing this means you're fighting against the Empire, and they sure as hell don't like that. No, they do not. Alright, so this paralogue, for those of you who have, a lot of you would probably know that this is also the Cyril and Hilda's map. So in terms of design, honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of it. They just decided to get the fuck out of there. You sons of bitches! Yeah. So, again, like, I like the idea behind this map, split into 3 pieces, kind of like separated into small chunks of land, so each one is kind of like its own, its own small area rather than one large map. But the problem is, because of all the shrubbery and how awkward it is to get around, this map could be a real pain in the ass. More so in this chapter, because the ideal way to get around is to use, like, flying units. But oh, lo and behold, this map is filled to the brim with motherfucking archers. So it's really damn annoying. A lot of them have like bow range +2, so they can hit from a lot of spaces away. Yeah. So with this chapter, I highly recommend, first of all, bow units are useful here so that you've got someone who can also, how do I put it? Someone who can also people who can also retaliate. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. People who can also retaliate and, just do it, just safely fight back against them, because there's a lot of bow knights. Users who've got a shit ton of are also very good. Really good defensive unit. That's why Edelgard works for this chapter, because yeah, I'm just really deciding on what on earth I want to do in terms of Gambit, because I need to know which units to prioritize with their movement. Gambit really helps in this map. Without it, it would be a real pain in the ass. But thankfully, we have our Gambit, which again, it's cool. It's Stride. The Gambit is called Stride, I meant to say. So as you can see, like, he does 1 damage and I'm doubling. But at the same time, because of the range, Edelgard's just got to take a lot of hits for the team. There goes the okay, this is just the way the short axe flies. I mean, I know that Edelgard's like armor build or thing build is not the optimal one. I just went with it because this is my first run and I'm used to it. It's like how in the Blue Lions run I'm currently doing, I'm not using Dimitri's time skip class. I'm using Paladin because I just really think Dimitri works well as a Paladin. So, there I go. Yeah, and I got my bow. Also, another reason I have the bow at the ready is because you have birds to fight, beasts. Thankfully, they're the easier bunch, but there's still birds to fight, so just be wary. But again, for this chapter, the enemy variety is not that good. It's mostly Wyvern Lords, Bow Knights, and what do you call it?
I do this for all of us.
What was I going to say? Crap. Oh, crap, I kind of lost it. What is it? And, yeah, warriors. So, yeah. So, like, a very fast unit can be good, but also a very, I don't know why I pressed that. Again, that was an accident. But also a very, 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 very bulky unit can really help out too, especially against the bow knights and stuff. Magic users in this one, I wouldn't recommend, just because the bow users can really fuck them over, but at the same time, the magic users can really rip through the enemy like nobody's business. So, that's actually, that is the benefit to having them, especially against the Wyverns. And in terms of how to tackle this chapter, I personally like to split up the army just so that I have Edelgard and, me, Byleth, tanking the main force, because Edelgard can tank the main force very, very easily. But, obviously, I don't want, like, so I can deal with the other bow knights, I have Bernadetta at the ready, just so that she can easily deal with them and she can retaliate easily. And also, really make use of the bushes, because it can really, really help here. High movement definitely helps too, because, you've got a lot of terrain to cover. And if you happen to have a... Oh, there goes Bernadetta. And if you happen to have that shield that prevents bow thing, if you've got like a high defense Pegasus Knight or a Wyvern Lord, then absolutely equip it to them to make best use out of this. One thing I've got to say about Free Houses, which is I don't know how to. It's kind of it's not exactly a positive. It's just a funny little workaround I saw. Is that obviously this chapter is the same as Cyril's and Hilda's. So I'm obviously like, why on earth are they what do you call it? It's like, why are they reusing maps? I really don't like it when they reuse maps because who does? But and this isn't like saying it's good. But at the very least, I think it's cool that they made Edelgard's Paralog the same map because. You can't... I know you can't get Hilda. I'm not sure about Cyril. Pretty sure you can't. But you can't get Hilda or Cyril in the... What do you call it? In the Black Eagle's pathway. Unless you do Silver Snow at the last minute. But that's, at the last minute. Rather than consistently. Rather than, throughout the whole thing, rather you go Edelgard's pathway. So because of that, you'll never get to experience this map via them. So at the same time... It's pretty damn cool that, because I didn't realize Lysithea was in range, so I was like, okay, let's wind back the clock a bit. So I made sure. So I think it's kind of cool that because of that, they chose a chapter which you weren't going to see, which again is a nice little attention to detail. But at the same time, you're still reusing maps. And again, there's something I've also discovered when it comes to paralogs. Obviously, with quite a lot of paralogs, you need 2 of the same character on your team, not just one. Like Marianne has a paralog where it's just Marianne. Hubert's is just Hubert. Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude, just Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude. Dedue is just Dedue, and so on. But like Alois and Shamir, you need both of them. And the one that confused me the most is Ferdinand and Lysithea, because you can't get it on the Black Eagle's pathway. You can only get it via the other ones, which isn't too big of an issue if you're running Silver Snow and you recruit Lysithea, or you're running Golden Deer and you recruit Ferdinand. But it's just like, the Black Eagle's pathway, you're given Ferdinand, and Lysithea you can recruit in battle. Why didn't you just let us do it in the Black Eagle's pathway? It doesn't make any sense. I just find it so strange. Like, as wonderful as the game Free Houses is, it can be weirdly cryptic at times when it comes to recruiting certain characters, stuff like that. It's like how if you don't, well, to be fair, if you don't do Dedue's Paralog, it's kind of silly because you should be doing it because you get it really early. Like if you don't have Dedue's Paralog done, he's dead in the time skip. So again, it's one of those. It's one of those things which I just find odd, just odd to say the least. It's not like it's not it's not going to dock the game a couple of points. It's just it's just one of those things where you just sit there and go, why? But okay, okay.
You're weak.
Well, yeah, he is definitely weak. So the map itself, it's not too long. It's just so many. Again, if you don't like archers, you're gonna fucking hate this map. So yeah. But the problem is the bow knights have like really long range. Even Bernadetta can't retaliate against them, which is, but thankfully, use the shrubbery. So really make use of that shrubbery and let them have it. But yeah, I can retaliate against this guy, thank goodness. And yeah, again, I love like just do these cartwheels. Like you don't expect, like I know that Fire Emblem characters are meant to be quite strong and like quite athletically built depending on their profession, but just seeing Bernadetta just like do that and just backflips. I remember Edelgard doing backflips. Edelgard, how the fuck do you backflip wearing armor like that? Again, there aren't meant. Oh, that's a Mortal Savant. I heard that's like the worst masterclass in the game. Though at the moment, the one I've seen that's the worst is the Great Knight, just because Paladin is like better in every sense of the word. I swear to God, Paladin is way better than Great Knight. Like, because Great Knight, the only thing you really get is a HP and defense boost, but you lose out on like everything else, so I don't see the point. You lose out on movement, you lose out on speed, I don't know about attack, I think that's roughly the same, but if you get more attack, that would make sense. You lose out on skill, I think you lose out on res. Yeah, again, it's just like, why? I don't get it. That's one of the biggest, again, I know people have said, masterclasses in Fates, they're really... Not Fates. Masterclasses in Fire Emblem... Free Houses. Not only are they a pain in the ass to unlock, but a lot of them are kind of underwhelming. Like, some of them are good, don't get me wrong. Like, Holy Knight is pretty damn good from what I remember.
Nerf this!
Wyvern Lord is... it's Wyvern Knight, Falcon Knight, those are all good. But, like, Mortal Savant doesn't really work, because there isn't really... Like, again, Dorothea Manuela is kind of like the only character that can really run Mortal Savant. Again, I apologize for the video stuttering. I guess the capture card just wasn't cooperating that day. So, apologies, but, there goes Petra. And, like, Like, Great Knight, again, there's just no point. War Master's pretty cool, actually, because, you know, Caspar's one, he's doing well as one. Dark Knight, I can, you know, that I can imagine doing well like Holy Knight too, but Holy Knight's a bit more, you know, interesting because, yeah, we've seen Dark Knights before, but we haven't really seen Holy Knights unless it's like the SNES era, like with, what do you call it? Lachesis, but even then it was a bit different. So that's pretty cool. And is there any other master classes? Oh, and Gremory, I heard, is pretty damn good just because, like, the magic DPS is so good. So, yeah, here goes the barrel, because, you know... Good lord. Yeah, so there goes the barrel. We just, I think it was destroy the, yeah, destroy the armor. Also, yeah, it hit him too, so double donk if you will. Double donk. Yeah, I play Team Fortress. Ah, boy. Again, like I said, yeah, this thing, even though, you know, bow units are kind of, like, archers kind of fear them, but just, sorry, magic users kind of fear them because they can't really retaliate, and the bow units are usually got high accuracy and good enough damage. You know, let's see if we could do a shit ton to them, so, you know, that's the thing, a lot of the units here are pretty weak in terms of just their overall dexterity, minus some of the weapons, but generally, there's a lot of them, but they don't really hit hard and they don't really do much damage. Like, Edelgard's just sitting there tanking for days, like, whatever. Though I reckon a lot of that has to do with the Caspar bonus, but, you know, I'll happily take that. Again, the birds aren't too difficult. I also find it odd that because, you know, with most things, if it's like the giant wood, like the giant dolls or the giant, like, robot things, I can understand them working with the enemy team, but the giant birds, to me, it just sounds a bit weird. Oh, right, I've got sword equipped. Ow. Again, to me, it just seems a little bit weird. You'd think the birds would just be neutral and they just happen to attack anyone who gets close. Yeah. There's the Mortal Savant. I think they look cool, don't get me wrong. I think they look really, really cool, like an Oni type thing. But generally, again, I've heard that Mortal Savants are not a good class. Like, I imagine Mortal Savant would be interesting to run if, like, I'm trying to think of a situation where Mortal Savant could really benefit a character, because most characters don't really have that type of mixed build going for them. So, I'm trying to think. I think what could be interesting is if Mortal Savant had like an ability where you could use it where physical weapons target res stat. Sorry, yeah, no, like magic weapons target a user's defense stat and physical weapons target their res stat, which could be interesting when you go up against like magic units and like armor units and physical units. That could be interesting. Obviously, that's not the case, but you know, it's just something to think about. And I was like, fuck your feathers. Again, again, doesn't matter if you can times 2 or times 4. If you're doing 0, you're doing 0 no matter what. So yeah, just all the fucking boits. So many birds. And I was like, fucking feathers. Nice. So go Edelgard. Okay, this chapter is pretty much designed for her, and hey, I'm making the best use out of her that I can. So, you know, what the hey, just so many goddamn wyverns. The wyverns, you know, they're not too much trouble to deal with, thankfully, because I got bows and all that jazz, but just generally keep an eye on them. So anyway, that's the end of that part, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. Next time we come back, we're going to continue with this map, see how it goes, get rid of all the enemies, have a lot of close calls, and we're also going to regress back to Fire Emblem 64 for some reason. Don't ask why. I guess the beta Path of Radiance was still in the cartridge somewhere. Until then, thank you all very much for watching. I will see you next time. Take care, and have a wonderful day.